One. Thank you for joining me for another day text. We work our way through the biblical books and other ancient texts to try to get a better understanding of our history so we can apply it in our present and better our future. We meet every weekday morning at 5 a.m. Pacific Standard Time unless otherwise scheduled. We're working our way through the letter of James. Right now we're in James chapter 2. We do these day texts only during the weekdays. We don't currently do them on the weekends. But on Sunday, we do have other shows. Saturday right now is open. But every weekday, unless it's otherwise scheduled, we do these day texts. So we keep going through the biblical records and get a good sense of the things that were written long ago. So we're going to start reading in James chapter 2, verses 10 through 13. I'll make a brief application, and then I'll give a few updates about a few other things. So, all right, let's get started. Let's get to these texts. James chapter 2, verse 10 states, "For whoever might closely follow the entire law," he's talking about the law of Moses, "but fails to keep in step with one command, has become answerable for all of them." Verse 11, "Indeed, the one saying you must not commit adultery said also you must not murder. So if you do not commit adultery, but you do murder, then you become a breaker of the law." Verse 12, "In this way you must speak, and in this way you must act, namely, on account of the law of freedom, by means of which you are about to be judged." Verse 13, "For the judgment is merciless to those who act without mercy, as mercy is set up to defeat judgment." You know, a lot of people today, they run around, they love to judge other people and put them down. I'm not talking about things that people are obviously doing wrong, like crime and stealing, lying, cheating, murdering, things that we know are wrong. But, things that maybe you don't do anymore, or that you did once or twice and here a long time ago, and now they're still doing all these other law-breaking things, but you don't do anything anymore, but you did some time ago. They love to bring that up because they're so insecure about what they're doing and the fact that you're not doing it anymore. They want to remind you. They try to get you back in the mindset of being a bad person or doing what's wrong so that you hurt yourself and then you can join their group again. This is what they do. A lot of sick people out there. But that's not what we do. Okay? We try to do what's right. If we make a mistake, we admit it, and we try to do better the next time. And there's no difference, okay, between these different laws. It says right here, if you break one, you break them all. And we've all broke at least one, and many of them probably. But that's why it's a good thing. We're not under this law. Jesus set us free from that. The law was a protection, because without the law, the Israelites would have been even worse off. And then they would have been polluted in ways that would have made them unfit for God to bring his son through them as the Messiah, preparing the body that he came in, lived in. So it protected them as individuals, as a nation, and it prepared them for the coming of the Messiah. But in our condition, we are sinful creatures. What that means, we have a tendency, even a proclivity, a bent towards the wrong thing. We've inherited this. Okay, it's an inheritance all the way back from our first parents. We have inherited all of this stuff, but yet and still we can do good, even with all this inherited sin. We have more or less, depending on our lineage. We can still do good. You see, that's how powerful God made humans in his image by forming us from the dirt and infusing us with his spirit. That's how powerful we are in that sense. That even when we're tainted, even when we're stained with imperfection and a tendency to do the wrong thing, the non-jah thing, we can still do the good thing. We still have that overriding sense of right that pushes us through at times, and we do it. And then other times we fail and we feel bad about it. You never feel bad about doing right? We only feel bad when we do the bad, because we know it's not right. So you should think about that. And how do you feel? How do you feel about the things you're doing? Is it making you sad? Well, then you're probably doing something wrong. So your feelings will tell you at times, even if you don't admit it, you can see it and override your sense of delusion by thinking about how you feel. Sometimes we self-delude, we self-confuse because we don't want to deal with reality, and we confuse ourselves away from the things we know we need to address, so we don't have to. And then it just stays around and burdens us until we do. So if something's bothering you and your feelings are off, they can be a sign that something's wrong with you. You're doing something wrong, and you're creating this conflict within yourself, this emotional turmoil, because you refuse to do the right thing. It doesn't mean you can't make mistakes. It just means sometimes it's not about the mistake and then working your way back from the mistake. Sometimes people just have a hard time doing the right thing. It just is hard for some people, maybe even for us at times, because we're not used to some things. And so until you break through and actually start doing that kind of self-analysis, or getting a sense of what's really going on with you and whether or not you're doing what you should be doing and whether that's why you're happy or not happy, until you take that step and start to evaluate what you're doing and why you feel the way you do, you're just going to exist in this constant turmoil because you're not recognizing the reason why you feel that way and analyzing your feelings to determine the changes that probably you should make. We all need to make changes at times, and our feelings, even though they can deceive us, they can tell us something is wrong, or sometimes they can tell us something is right. We still have to evaluate it. We don't surrender our entire decision making to our feelings, but they can be a part of our decision making process. And then we use reason and logic, and we take a look at the objective facts. Objective facts are things outside of you, like an object. Subjective views are inside you, and you're the subject. You see within yourself something, a certain point of view. It either matches the objective fact or it's your own interpretation or opinion about the fact. Some people's interpretations and opinions about the fact are not correct, so their view is subjective. If their views and opinions about the objective fact outside of them are correct, then they're not basing it on their internal views. They're basing it on the external facts surrounding the object. So when we deal with other people, that's how we have to view them. They're an object in the sense that they're not us. We cannot try to help people based on how we feel. We have to look and see, how do they feel? Why does that person feel that way? What's making them do that? Are they just irrational and not aware of what they're doing? Or is there some reason why they feel that way? You have to find out. That's the only way you're going to be able to get to the bottom of some of these emotional difficulties or relational issues, is to first analyze yourself to figure out why you feel that way. What is going on with you internally? Then you have to determine what is going on with the other person before you judge them, or if you're going to show them mercy, you got to try to understand what's happening. And then you can make the right decision. But you cannot just use your subjective view and apply it to an object and think that's going to be the same all the time. So you must self-analyze when it comes to determining the way you feel and why. And then you must objectively analyze when it comes to trying to work with other people to figure out why they're feeling or acting a certain way. Because it's not you. How could it be subjective? You can only be subjective about you. Or if you're going to make an opinion about somebody without considering the objective facts, you can still do that, but it's not correct. So we really need to start self-analyzing more, and then being more aware of other people and why they're doing what they do. So sometimes you can't help it, right? There's some people, I analyze sometimes why people come after me or don't like me, why they do what they do. And there's no real good reason, Like I said, they bring up things 15 years ago that weren't even a problem because it was something they were doing. And, they're just upset in ways because I won't join them in some of the activities they do now. You see, they're used to me back then when after the Watchtower, was a little more open to working with some of these people, and they want me to do all that all over again. I'm sorry. That's not what I do. I don't have to do those things, and I don't want to. Right? I want to do good work, I want to make decent money, and I want to have a nice life. That's it. Or if I have to stand up for God and have persecution, great. I'm ready for it. That's what we do. But I'm not going to spend my life trying to figure out all these other people and their motivations. I can already tell in certain ways, like I said, with some of these people attacking me now, because they're just upset that I won't involve myself with their crime. That's it. And then they destroy themselves, their whole family and friends, just because I won't give in. That's really sad. Maybe they should give in and join me. They'd probably be a lot happier. Either way, I'm going to go forward and do what I know is right. And if people don't want to join me and they want to judge me because I don't join them, so be it. I cannot change people. And so, well, I can try, but I'm not going to try with people who aren't really interested in changing. They want to have their own view, and that's just the way they think. You can't really work with people like that. You know, if they want to talk and reason and have a discussion, yeah, you can do that. A lot of these people aren't like that. They just want to do the thing they want to do, and if you don't do what they do, you're out. See, they're just like this false religion, this oppressive, cultic system that forces people to do the things they want to do, and then you end up with nothing because they take it all from you, or they use you up so badly you've got nothing left at the end of the day, and then they just give you little crumbs until your last day, or they give you this imaginary authority over people that you end up abusing because you shouldn't have it anyway, and so they just facilitate the same system of oppression through weak-minded people. So it's not, you don't want to be around people like that. If you do, great, have a nice life. What are you bothering me for? Does it look like I want to be involved in crime? Does anything I do give any indication of that ever? Give me a break. So these people know better, and they do it anyway because they refuse to accept the objective facts. Here come the cats. So, oh, these cats again. Hey, come on, there's Dada over there. He's working his way over here. So let's keep these things in mind. We don't want to be without mercy. Look at verse 13. The judgment is merciless to those who act without mercy. You're not supposed to be merciless and running around and damaging people, hurting their families because of your selfishness, or you don't get your way. That's childish behavior, and it ends up causing you to experience the same judgment. I just go my own way. I'm not going to tolerate these kind of people if they act that way. And so you don't want to continue to be around those who don't show mercy. That's not appropriate. And you don't want to be around those who don't apologize either, right? It's not about forgiving people and showing mercy when they don't even want it, right? They're not asking for it. It's to those who want it, those who are sorry for what they did, and they realize they made these mistakes, and they're going to admit it, and they're a better person now, and they're going to move on. People can't do that. They just for some reason, they cannot escape this trap that they put themselves in. And so they run around judging all these other people because they're still in their own trap about what they did. And so the judging other people helps them feel better about it. Instead of just acknowledging that they made a mistake, they were wrong, they apologize, and they're going to make it right. And then what would happen? You give them mercy, right? Right away. If you're someone like me and someone acknowledges their error and they apologize and they're going to make it right, no problem. No problem. Hey, great. I'm sorry we had these problems. Let's work it out. You see, that's how easy it is. But unless the person is willing to do that and accept and acknowledge what they did, you can't do it because they'll just take it out on you later if you don't go through this process of working it out, subjectively dealing with your own feelings and then objectively considering others to realize what's happening. Don't use your own, don't mind read. You can't do that. You're not supposed to try to figure out what another person is thinking inside. You just ask them, and they're supposed to tell you. And then you work it out from there. You have a conversation, and you grow, and you become better. You're not going to do that with judgment. Judgment's just going to divide you more, cause you to dislike the other person, maybe even dislike yourself. And then what does that benefit anyone? There's no motivation, no love, no nothing. But when there's mercy, you get it all, right? Love, forgiveness, acceptance, understanding. So that's why it says at the end of verse 13, mercy is set up to defeat judgment. And so their mercy is being defeated by their judgment. And that's why they're not going to get any mercy when their day comes. Oh, that's going to be a bad one. We don't want to have that. We want to show mercy now, defeat the judgment, so when our judgment comes, we get the mercy. So that's today's text. Now tomorrow we're going to get into some more, a little bit more involved texts. These are good, of course, because they remind us of the need for mercy, to not act judgmentally all the time. I'm not talking about those who commit crime and who do obviously, damaging things, and they're damaging me or someone directly. That's obvious. You're not judging that. Well, you are, but it's actually happening. You're not reading into it or subjectively saying, oh, this person's thinking this or that. They're doing it right in front of your face. So you have to react. You have to respond and deal with those kinds of things until they stop. Trust in Jah. He will always defend you. I've seen it my whole life. So I have no doubt in my mind. Not at all. And so I'm going to keep going forward, do these texts, these videos. I got a new channel now, property insurance, claims fraud review. I was doing a little bit of things last night, getting the first video ready. I'm going to move some of the videos from the CW JawTube channel over to the property insurance claims fraud review. So probably later today, I'll have the videos on that channel. And then I'll start using both of them. One for the property fraud claims stuff. A lot of good stuff coming there. And then, of course, I'll keep doing the CW JawTube. So give me a little time to coordinate all that and move the videos to the new site. And then I have a couple things this morning I have to do work-wise. And then I will be back doing the channels, getting some videos. Definitely still have a Toy Story 4 garbage dump. Then I'm going to do the unicorn store. It looks like a nice, terrible piece of garbage. And then I'll be doing the fraud videos. I have a lot of fraud videos I'm going to do every day, probably a fraud video, so we can deal with this issue once and for all until these people apologize and stop what they're doing. Stop hurting other people and pay what you owe. Apologize at the very minimum. And then, people can work things out. But you have to apologize. You just can't continue to be arrogant and bad to people. And just because you're a criminal doesn't mean you can't change. You're just choosing that way. So choose a different way. Be a better person while you still have time. Okay, so I'm going to keep doing those things. I'll be back tomorrow for another day text. I'll be back later today. Property Insurance Claims Fraud Review channel. I'll start populating that with videos. And we're going to get these criminals who are being bad to everybody until they change. Everybody can change, like I just said. And so we will try to help them change and help other people along the way. So it's a good way to start our day and to praise Jah. I look forward to meeting with all of you tomorrow. We do have a CW Jah Talk this Sunday. And I might do it, at this point, I'm tentatively going to do it on the Holy Spirit. Someone suggested that to me the other day, and I think it would be a good show for us to do. Talk about the different texts that discuss the Holy Spirit and its relationship to God and how we can use it effectively as Christians. So I appreciate all of you. I thank you for joining me. I know it's not always easy if you're getting up early like me, but it's worth it because we start our day with these texts and praising Jah together as Christians.